Ever stop and wonder how your computer can be so fast? How it just juggles everything you throw at it? From opening an app in a blink to holding on to your photos for years and years? Well, it's all about memory. But, and this is the key, not just one kind of memory. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the two different brains inside your machine, primary and secondary memory. And trust me, understanding this is like getting the secret key to how computers really work.
Okay, so let's just start with the most obvious question, right? Why make things so complicated? Why not just have one single giant memory that does everything? I mean, it seems like it would be way simpler. But as it turns out, there's a really brilliant reason for this two-part system. To make this super easy to understand, we're going to use one simple analogy for this whole explainer. I want you to picture an office. In that office, you've got your desk, your workspace, where you keep all the stuff you're actively working on right now. And then you've got that big, heavy filing cabinet in the corner where you store everything else for the long haul. Got it? Desk and filing cabinet. Keep that picture in your head because it's the key to everything we're about to cover.
All right, first up, let's talk about that workspace desk. This is your computer's primary memory. Think of it as the computer's immediate short-term thinking space. It's where all the action happens, right here, right now.
So what are the characteristics of this desk? Well, for starters, primary memory, you might also hear it called main memory, has a direct private line to the CPU, the actual processor of the computer. That direct connection makes it incredibly fast. But just like a real desk, you only have so much space to work with, right? It's limited in size. And because it's such high-performance tech, it's also quite a bit more expensive. Now, here is probably the single most important thing you need to remember about primary memory. It has one defining characteristic. It is volatile. That sounds pretty dramatic, doesn't it? Volatile. So what does it actually mean when we're talking about computers? Well, to put it simply, it means it's temporary. It doesn't last. Think back to our desk analogy. Imagine you're working away, you've got papers and notes spread out everywhere, and then boom, the power goes out. Everything on your desk just gets wiped clean, scattered, lost, unless you saved it somewhere else first. It is the exact same thing with primary memory. The second your computer shuts down, everything that was on that desk is gone. Poof, wiped clean. So, if the desk is just a temporary workspace, where does everything go to be kept safe? Well, that brings us to our trusty filing cabinet. This is your computer's secondary memory. It's the long-term archive for, well, for everything. And as you can probably guess, the filing cabinet is pretty much the total opposite of the desk. Secondary memory, or auxiliary memory, does not talk directly to the CPU. That makes it slower to get stuff out of. But its whole job is storage, so it is massive. And because it's built for huge capacity instead of pure speed, it is much, much cheaper. And hey, if primary memory is volatile, I bet you can guess what secondary memory is, right? You got it, it's non-volatile. And that just means it's permanent. Once you save a file, once you put it in that filing cabinet, it stays there. You can shut your computer down, you can unplug it, you can come back a year from now, and that file will be sitting there right where you left it, perfectly safe. Okay, so we've established we have a super fast but temporary desk and a huge but slower permanent filing cabinet. How in the world do they actually work together to make a computer that's, useful? This is where the magic really happens. So here's the workflow, step by step. Let's say you want to open a program. The CPU, think of it as the boss in the office, needs to work on that file. But the boss isn't going to go slowly rummaging through that giant filing cabinet. No way. So it sends an order. Go get me a copy of that file from the cabinet. That copy gets culled from secondary memory, and it's placed right onto the desk, onto primary memory. And only then, once it's on that fast, easy-to-reach desk, can the CPU start to work with it directly. So let's put this all together. We're going to do a final side-by-side breakdown just to make these differences totally crystal clear. First, just look at the massive difference in size. It's not even a competition. Your primary memory, your RAM, we measure that in gigabytes. 8 gigs, 16 gigs, maybe 32. But your secondary memory, your hard drive, we're talking terabytes. That is thousands of gigabytes. The filing cabinet is just astronomically bigger than the desk. But now, let's flip that and talk about the cost. And this chart right here, this really tells the whole story. On a per gigabyte basis, that super fast primary memory is way, way more expensive than the slower secondary memory. And that's the answer to our very first question.
We can't have one giant memory built out of the fast stuff, because a computer would literally cost a fortune.
And here it is, the ultimate cheat sheet. You can see all the contrasts laid out perfectly. Primary is volatile and temporary. Secondary is non-volatile and permanent. Primary is blazing fast with direct access to the CPU. Secondary is slower with indirect access. And that all leads to the big trade-off. Primary is expensive, secondary is cheap. This table just sums up the two completely different jobs that they do.
So what this all really boils down to is that this two-memory system isn't a flaw or a limitation. It's actually a brilliant piece of engineering. It's this intelligent compromise that gives us the absolute best of both worlds. We get the incredible speed of a clean workspace combined with the massive, affordable storage of a long-term archive. It's this balance that makes modern computers possible.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. We've drawn this really clear line between the desk and the filing cabinet. But what happens as technology keeps evolving? As new kinds of memory get faster and cheaper? Will that line between them start to get a little blurry? Could we one day actually see a computer with just one single giant memory that's both super fast and permanent? Now that is something to think about. Thanks for joining me.